Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, price of grains crashes in Adamawa as traders lament naira scarcity. 3 killed as two-story building collapses in Rivers State. Jigawa governor names Mohammed Hamim as new emir of Dutse. And on the foreign scene, Pope Francis makes final appeal for peace at the end of South Sudan trip. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. We begin with the Naira redesign policy, where prices of grains in Adamawa have gone down owing to the scarcity of Naira in the hands of buyers and traders. Now, with this development, weekly markets in the state are wearing an empty look with low turnout of would-be buyers. Salis Lawan visits some likely weekly markets and files in this report.
It is not the usual busy market day for these traders, as most of the market activities are at standstill due to non-availability of cash to transact business. Traders here are just counting losses almost on daily basis. A bag of maize that was sold between 20 and 22,000 naira last 3 weeks is now selling between 17,000 and 14,000 naira or even 12,000 naira depending on the transactions, transfer, cash of old or new currency. While some are not happy with the development, calling quick review of the policy, others say it is a welcome development.
When we talk of the cashless policy, actually it affects us much, in the sense that when you go to remote area, when you have no cash, nobody will give you his own goods. So as a result of that, you will just come out with nothing, because they are not accepting transfer.
I used to buy rice, soya beans and other grains worth millions of naira before. But with this new policy, I hardly buy goods because of lack of cash. Our business requires cash. We are in serious trouble. For me, this policy is good, and it will never come at a better time than now. May Allah bless President Buhari for implementing the policy. We are now buying foodstuff at lower price. Transporters also have their own side of story as regard to challenges and new wave of hardship caused by the CBN Naira redesign and cashless policy. This policy has brought actually nothing to us but untold hardship. We don't like it. Our businesses are on standstill. If really they want our votes and peace of this country to continue, let them review the policy. They said we have to be cashless society. What have they put in place to achieve that? Some passengers will come here and suggest making transfer, but the network is not there. If you go to ATM for withdrawals, long queues, fuel stations, queues, I don't understand. Although Central Bank of Nigeria said the redesigned denominations of 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes, a new limit on the large withdrawals, is aimed at curbing money laundering, observers say the timing is wrong. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
And as Gombe residents battle scarcity of the redesigned Naira notes, the Central Bank of Nigeria has met senior officials of commercial banks operating in Gombe State. Speaking to newsmen, CBN Deputy Director Financial Markets Aliu Ashiru said the meeting with commercial banks is to ensure smooth circulation of the newly redesigned Naira notes across the state.
If you recall, I think there has been some changes to the guidelines of the implementation of the policy. There is now an OTC transaction, over-the-counter payment of 20,000 naira. So it's these modifications that we have called them, discussed with them, let them understand the process and then how it works. Basically, there is a ratio that we advise them to follow for all the cash that they have collected, a ratio of 40, 30, 30, 40% for payment through their agents, 30% for payment over the counter, and 30% to be loaded onto their ATM machine. We've come here so that we'll give the banks money, at least let them not stay over the weekend without having cash in their ATMs, one. And then secondly, we want them to pay the first customer at 8 a.m. tomorrow, Monday, when they open their businesses.
And the senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, said the scarcity of the redesigned Naira is affecting the fight against insurgency in the northeast. The chairman, Senate Committee on Army, in a chat with journalists in his residence, revealed that the situation has caused more hardship across the country and is causing frontline troops to struggle to feed, as well as affecting logistics in military operations. He stressed that the Central Bank of Nigeria should make the new notes available to avoid widespread protests that could be similar to the EndSARS protests.
As it is now, they are finding it very difficult to access cash, especially the new notes. So the CBN Bank cashless policy and the new Naira design is affecting the security operations negatively, and it should be considered before it gets out of hand. I am aware of one situation or two that the military or personnel that normally take short hours passes to come to ATM to get money. One, they come to the ATM, the money is not there. Number two, there is queue, a long queue. People sleep at the ATM, and when they try to jump the queue, there was a problem that one soldier was mobbed and nearly killed. Even this cashless policy that they are talking about, they are trying to circumvent a problem instead of facing the problem frontally. I'm worried and concerned about the policy saying, bring in your old money into the bank, and then you cannot take the money out. Nobody is asking anybody, where did you get the money that you are bringing in?
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has appealed to banks to expedite action to reduce the pain and discomfort small depositors and the unbanked are currently going through. In a statement issued on Sunday in Abuja by the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council's media team, Obi threw his weight behind the currency redesign, saying that the exercise has long-term economic benefits. According to Obi, the currency redesign is not peculiar to Nigeria. It is an exercise that comes with some inconveniences and pains, but it has significant long-term economic and social benefits. Obi urged the CBN and banks to expedite action to make the new Naira available to small depositors and the unbanked to reduce the pains Nigerians, particularly those in the rural areas, are going through. And President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned what he called the horrific attack on vigilantes at Ergoji Forest in Jibia local government area of Katsina State, where many lives were lost. The bandits had ambushed a convoy of vigilantes in the forest as they went to recover stolen cows, leading to the killings. The president, in a statement issued on Sunday by spokesman Garba Shehu, paid tribute to all those vigilantes and family members who had been martyred on Sunday. Buhari said the sacrifices of the brave men who were working to prevent and punish crimes in their communities will not be forgotten. The Katsina State government had pledged to inaugurate a commission of inquiry to investigate the immediate and remote causes of the killings. The special advisor to Governor Aminu Bello Masari on security matters, Ibrahim Ahmad Katsina, who disclosed this on Friday night while addressing some journalists at his residence in Katsina, said the government will also assist families of the victims. When contacted, the police spokesman in Katsina, SP Gambo Isa, said that some operations were ongoing in the affected areas. Civil society organizations and human rights groups condemn in strong terms the killing of over 80 farmers and herders in Katsina communities by bandits on Thursday. This was announced by the chairman of the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations in Katsina in an interview with Trust TV over the increasing spate of killings of innocent people. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the story.
The groups said the inaction of security operatives to provide reinforcement to the villagers when the bandits took over 8 hours carrying out the killings could have saved innocent lives.
There are military bases in Kankara. There is military base in Malampashi. There is military base in Rongodia. There is military base in Huntua. And none of these places is more than 25 kilometers away from where that incident happened. And this happened in a very long period of time. Some say more than 3 hours, 4 hours, this thing have been happening. But there is no enforcement from the security men.
Bakori and Kankara communities are suffering from bandits' attacks over the last 7 years, with thousands of lives lost, properties worth hundreds of millions damaged, rustling thousands of domestic animals and payment of millions of naira as ransom to the terrorists over the years have devastated the local communities.
What we need from the government is action. The government need to do everything humanly possible to ensure that this problem has been brought to an end. The issue of banditry, the issue of kidnapping, and all form of insurgency should be stopped.
The rights groups and civil society organizations are also worried over the number of orphans and widows the bandits' offensive would leave behind.
If we go back, understand that it is the governor or the governor of Katsina State that said you should protect yourself. These people are here to protect their own properties and themselves, but they end up into this. Like what Chairman said is, what about the securities, the agencies that are around that place? Are those people not indigenous and citizens of Katsina State that they are supposed to be protected? Look at the democratic and the election and the electioneering activities that is going on now in Katsina State without even giving concern, much concern on the issue of these killings.
The groups called on the federal government to secure the state and make frantic efforts to resettle the families of over 84 people killed by the terrorists recently. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And at least 3 persons are feared dead when a building under construction caved in along Isi Ewu Road, Mbodo community in Ekwere local government area of Rivers State. The dead victims were laborers working at the site of the 2-story building when the incident occurred. The incident occurred on Saturday evening, even as some persons sustained injuries and were rushed to the hospital. The public relations officer of the NSCDC River State Command, Olufemi Ayodele, confirmed the incident to our correspondent on Sunday morning. Ayodele, in a statement, quoted the state commandant of the NSCDC, Michael Oga, who visited the scene, saying the cause of the incident was due to the use of substandard materials. Oga, who was represented by the head of the Rivers NSCDC Disaster Management Rescue Team, Assistant Commandant James Ngene, disclosed that preliminary investigations revealed that the rods, pillars and blocks used in construction of the 2-story building were far below required specifications. The Nigerian Bar Association on Saturday condemned the killing of the chairman of Ejemekuru Customary Court in the Oguta local government area of Imo State, Nameka Ogboma. In a statement by the association's National Publicity Secretary, Akorede Habib, the bar confirmed that Ogboma was murdered on Friday afternoon by yet-to-be-identified assailants on the premises of the Ejemekuru Customary Court in the full glare of other court users. According to eyewitness accounts, the deceased has just finished conducting proceedings when his attackers came in their numbers, collected the phones of everyone present, rounded up Ogboma and shot him in the head. According to Lawal, the MBA is committed to getting to the root of Ogboma's murder and shall ensure that all the culprits are quickly brought to book. And 1 person was killed during a confrontation between security agents and protesters on Saturday in Oyo, southwest Nigeria. Hundreds of persons had commenced a protest against the scarcity of naira notes and petrol on Friday, leading to the vandalism of banks and shops, among others. In a statement, police public relations officer in the state, Adewale Osifeso, said the killing of the individual occurred at 10:15 a.m. while security agents were on a combined patrol in the Akpata area of the Ido local government area of the state. The police spokesman said normalcy has returned to the area with the deployment of patrol teams and other tactical assets visible on ground. Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar has approved the appointment of Muhammad Hamim as the new Emir of Dutse. He succeeds Nuhu Muhammad Sunusi, who died in an Abuja hospital last week. Reports say Dutse Emirate kingmakers had unanimously selected the new Emir among the 3 contenders for the royal seat. In a statement from the Emirate Council, it said the name of the new Emir was forwarded to Jigawa State Council of Chiefs, which also approved the decision of the kingmakers, but sent names of the other contestants to the governor for his approval. Subsequently, the governor has approved Muhammad Hamim Nuhu Sanusi as the new Emir of Dutse with effect from Sunday, the 5th of February 2023. Until his appointment as Emir of Dutse, Hamim Nuhu Sanusi held the title of Ɗan Dutse. Born in 1979, Alhaji Hamim Nuhu Sanusi studied BSc and Master's degree at Monash University, Sunway College, Campus, Malaysia. The new Emir has been a managing director of HMS Energy Limited. He has worked with SMD Consulting from 2011 to 2016 as head of the Northern Region. Hamim Nuhu Sanusi was head of business development at Biliak Consulting from 2007 to 2011. 43-year-old Hamim Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi has been crowned the new Emir of Dutse in Jigawa State, northwest Nigeria, to succeed his late father, who died on the 31st of January in Abuja after a brief illness. Hamim was, until his appointment by the Jigawa State Governor Abubakar Badaru, the Ɗan Dutse and council member. His appointment followed the selection process by the 7 kingmakers of the emirate. The new Emir of Dutse emerged victorious from a contest upon his unanimous selection by the kingmakers out of 3 contenders who jostled for the royal seat. His name was subsequently forwarded to the State Council of Chiefs for approval. Hamim Nuhu Muhammad Sanusi is now the 3rd to ascend the Dutse Emirate throne after his late father, who equally succeeded his late father Muhammad Sanusi Dambello as the first-class Emir after its upgrade by General Ibrahim Babangida's military junta in 1991 following the creation of Jigawa State. You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Still to come, we take a look at how parents aid exam malpractice. Details of this and more after the break. To stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Nigeria now we country, APC not the party, now one man be a choice.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Ba a iya sutura da abinci jin daɗin duniyar mu ya ƙare. Za ka iya more rayuwarka da kayan alfarma na kamfanin Vento Furniture kamar su Ladi Corner Sets, Escape Sofa Sets, Acadia Sofa, Piano Sofa Sets, Sofa Corner Sets, Vento Sofa Sets. Sannan kuma za ku iya saka ƙayatattun gadaje na alfarma a ɗakunan kamar su Gold Cream Bedroom Sets ko kuma ku wadata falon ku da kujeru na alfarma irin su Sare Royal Set da Acadia Dining Sets. Ofishoshin ku kuwa za ku iya saka manya-manyan kujeru na kece raini domin walwala da jin daɗin ku da abokan hulɗa. Kamfanin Vento Furniture ya tanadar muku gadajen bacci na yara masu inganci, kayan ɗaki irin na angwaye da amare har ma da sarakuna. Muna da shagunan mu a gurare kamar haka: 79 Allen Avenue, Ikeja, Lagos; 7A Azikiwe Road, Port Harcourt; 25 Glover Road, Ikoyi, Lagos; Shop U1 Jabi Lake Mall, Abuja; da kuma 4330 Walker Road, Windsor, Ontario ga mazauna ƙasar Canada. Vento Furniture mun zagaye ko ina.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now let's take another look at our top stories. Price of grains crash in Adamawa as traders lament naira scarcity. And 3 killed as 2-story building collapses in Rivers State. And in other news, aggrieved registered voters without permanent voter cards in Maiduguri have threatened to sue the Independent National Electoral Commission if it fails to issue their PVCs before Monday's collection deadline. The prospective voters at a press briefing held at the NUJ Center lamented that despite continuous excuses and postponements to issue their PVCs, the Electoral Commission has been selective in the distribution of the voter cards. They allege that the denial of the cards is perceived to be partisan. The spokesman of the group, Ishaku Yakubu, said he has evidence to prove a case against INEC and will go ahead to court if the electoral body fails to issue their PVCs in the next 48 hours.
We have reason to believe that there is a sinister plan to disenfranchise thousands of people, as there appear to be no reason for holding up the PVCs. All of us here and many others who could not make it are registered, transferred, and are requesting for replacement of lost or damaged cards. Secondly, the deadline should not affect those who have no fault of their own or who have not been able to get their card. The INEC should caution its staff who have been telling people that they won't get their card till after election. We have evidence of such utterances.
And still talking PVC collection, ahead of Sunday's deadline for the collection of the permanent voter cards, a group in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, has encouraged all Nigerians to heed the call of the nation's electoral umpire to come forward and collect their voter cards. Taking its message across major markets in the ancient city, the group urged the citizenry to contribute their quota to national development by actively participating in the forthcoming general elections. Leader of the group, Eno Ben Udensi, said the essence of the sensitization campaign was to awaken the consciousness of Nigerians, especially women, on why they must play the lead role in salvaging Nigeria from the jaws of hopelessness.
On the part of the MOC, we are going there to monitoring. They started around 8:30. And it has been a conduct. It is so encouraging. People have come out in mass to know how the beavers is even working. And the handler of the beavers, the electorate, and all the political stakeholders are now even seeing that beavers has come, and it has even become a game changer. Part of the effort of level of our preparation is the Pan-Africa Women Project, which is specifically designed to sensitize the women on the need to collect their PVC. And people are now even being fully aware of what you are doing. And this happens to be the fractional part of the INEC gender policy, that we are finding a means that the woman should be able to be involved and have this kind of inclusiveness senses, and to showcase the essence of picking the PVC and picking the right candidate, voting for the right candidate that will be of their choice, who that can deliver to them.
And many of them are in the marketplace. Many of them come, you can see this Saturday, a lot of people here, 90% of the people here are women coming to buy, some are selling. So we chose to speak to women in this engagement we are having in this season in the marketplace. Let them go collect their permanent voters card. Like today, people that just came to buy have carried a message.
The message is not only just for women, is for the youth over the age of 18 who have registered. We are saying to the youth, go and collect your PVCs so that you can go out there and count your vote on the 25th of Feb and the 11th of March.
Meanwhile, electorate at Majidadi and Ajiari wards in Bauchi and Daraza local government areas of Bauchi State are confident that their votes will count during the forthcoming 2023 general elections. They made the revelation during the conduct of the mock accreditation exercise held at selected polling units across the 3 senatorial zones of the state. Trust TV's Adam Imam completes the story.
During the mock accreditation exercise, officials of Independent National Electoral Commission were at hand to inspect and monitor the exercise while also confirming the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS. Electorates at the selected voting centers expressed hope that the 2023 general elections will be a different one after being accredited by the system.
The process of getting the PVC card is easy, we were told recently, but in no time, everyone has gotten the PVC card.
Because they are using more techniques than before. This is what we have observed. What we only think of, let government consider it well and train the personnel. That's not everything about the mechanic of the machine.
At Ungor Jarmari Kofar Amadou in Darazo, the presiding officer shared some of his experience while using the bimodal system for the accreditation exercise.
Yes, we have two options of accreditation. Yes, by fingerprints or by capturing the picture of the person.
Meanwhile, the National Commissioner, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), in charge of Bauchi, Borno, and Yobe, Modibo Abubakar Alkali, called on the electorates, especially the women, to support INEC to deliver on its mandate, coming out en masse to vote during the election proper.
If anybody has any challenge, come and contribute his quota as to develop INEC. We are not hiding anything. We have seen how people in Bauchi State came out to demonstrate their support for this accreditation mock exercise. It's a mock accreditation exercise. It's a dress rehearsal for the preparation of February 25th of this February 2023.
According to Al-Kali, a visit to the 6 local government areas conducting the mock accreditation revealed that the exercise was excellent and the machines worked optimally. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is confident that whatever challenges experienced during the mock accreditation with the bimodal voters accreditation system machines will be fixed before the elections. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Kaduna, FCT, Nasarawa and Plateau States, Muhammad Haruna, gave the assurance at the Rigachukum polling unit in Kaduna. The report.
The mock accreditation exercise at Tudunwada Rigachukum polling unit 13 recorded attendance of 3 voters. Idris Al-Hassan was the first to be accredited. He described the process as less cumbersome and hoped it will be maintained during the election.
I came early. I'm the first person that has been credited. Actually, very easier to accredit everybody that came.
INEC electoral officers in charge of Igabi local government area, Fatima Garba, noted that if the tempo of the accreditation is sustained, large number of voters can be accredited within a short time.
So if we keep up at this pace, we hope that even if with the large number of registrants that were expected during the elections, with the way the machine, of course, operated today, with what was witnessed today, we are hopeful that if we go at this pace, we will be able to accredit as many voters as possible.
One issue that came up during the mock accreditation exercise in this polling unit was the refusal of the BVAS machine to accredit one of an identical twins because of the facial features.
But there's enough time, 3 weeks, so we'll be able to sort it out. And as you can see, it's very, as the admin sec said here, it's isolated. Those that have been done here, only one had that, and even that they were able to do it because they used the facial when they couldn't use the fingerprint when they could.
If what is witnessed here at the mock accreditation is anything to go by, the process is by far an improvement on the card reader. However, many hope no hitch would be recorded during the elections. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And to test the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system ahead of the general elections, INEC has conducted mock accreditation of the voters in Delta State. The exercise, which was classified as successful, took place in 12 centers of the state. Let's take a look.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, INEC officials started the exercise using the BVAS. The machine takes 4 stages of accreditation: presentation of PVC, identification of voter, fingerprint and barcode scan before picture capturing and manual search. For the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Delta State, Reverend Udotom, the exercise was hitch-free.
Every place I went, the voters were very happy that for once in their life they are sure that their vote is going to count because they were admitted by the beavers, and when you are admitted by the beavers, you are given a ballot paper to go and vote, and that's going to be one man, one vote.
All things being equal, the success recorded by the bimodal accreditation system is an encouragement that INEC is ready to conduct credible elections. Ubeche Kelvin Kelly, Silverbird News 24, Asaba.
And as part of efforts to cushion the suffering of the citizens of Delta State following the fuel scarcity across the nation, the government has inaugurated a product monitoring team to deal with the challenge. The team, which has started its assignment, visited some filling stations and cautioned against dispensing the product above the government-approved pump price.
But as a state, we feel the pains of Deltans, and we must do something to alleviate those pains with the marching order from His Excellency the Governor to ensure that petrol or PMS is accessible, affordable, and available. We want them to be accessible and available to our citizens at the price as pronounced by the federal government, the prevailing rate. We want to appeal to citizens to remain calm. Government is not resting on ours. We know that the primary objective of government is to protect lives and properties.
And with just about 3 weeks to the presidential election, Benue youth are worried that the rising cost of transportation in the country may affect voter turnout. Jimmy Azande, who spoke to some Nigerians in that state, says there's an air of apprehension in some quarters due to fears of disenfranchisement caused by the cost of transportation. The report.
The streets in some areas of Makurdi and Benue as a whole are becoming empty even in highly populated areas due to the rising cost of transportation. Both intra- and intercity shuttles have become nearly impossible for most residents of Benue State. While some are resorting to walking, others cannot due to health challenges.
Today, people tend to actually take advantage of situations, most especially in the business world. Because if you look at, yes, no doubt about the fact that the price of fuel today is high, and at some point, even to get it has become a problem. But then you discover that people in the business world tend to take advantage of this situation.
The residents added that if something is not done fast, the hike in transportation would affect the 2023 post negatively. They said, coupled with other challenges, most people cannot afford to travel out to participate in the elections even when they are willing.
High cost of price to transport themselves back to their various places, like students from Enugu, Benin, Delta, who are in Benue State, cannot afford such amount to travel back to their states for the general election. And as well, students whom are indigenous of Benue State and whom are in other states studying cannot afford such amounts to travel back to the state for the general elections.
They urge the authorities to intervene and swiftly too to reduce the hardship on Nigeria.
The price of petrol is the cause of the high prices in transportation, and of such, if the government can please bring down the price of petrol. Like right now in some states, petrol is sold at 350 naira per liter, some 600 per liter. If this is not done, I am telling you, the population that will participate in the election will be like, it will be a disgrace. The population will be low. I am pleading with the government officials to please intervene.
There has been tales of agony in the past weeks due to the Naira crisis and the fuel hike, which they said have made the situation worse. They are hopeful that the situation does not lead to voter apathy in the coming polls.
Now, the growing wave of malpractice during senior secondary school examinations have been attributed in part to parents who are said to be aiding their children and wards to indulge in the act. Such aiding and abetting comes in the form of outright purchase of results, paying for others to sit for their kids, as well as bribing examiners to make up for the inadequacies of their wards. This warranted the creation of an additional examination known as Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, while tertiary institutions also set up post-UTME examination to scrutinize their new intakes. Hamid Oyegbade reports that the unwholesome practice still continues in spite of these measures put in place to prevent it.
Examination is formal test of a person's knowledge or proficiency in a subject or skill. Schools hold examinations to assess the capacity of students in their various courses. External examinations such as NECO and WAEC are conducted by bodies saddled with such responsibility. These examinations are among the prerequisites to qualify for admission into institutions of higher learning. However, students with academic deficiency go extra miles to pass the senior secondary school external examinations by all means.
Parents and guardians do pay like 80 to 100,000 before their children or child can have a NECO, WAEC or NAPTEP. So it is highly condemnable, and everything lies in the hand of the government. They were the one in charge of the education, and they should try and do the needful by making sure that we are back to our old system.
It's very appalling and unbecoming of this media generation of parents and their wards. This will have evil effect on our academic performance, and I say it's a product of the society over emphasizing paper qualification, and so people are trying to bend rules, cut corners to ensure that their ward come out with unmerited brilliance in quote.
They should provide home teachers so that it will help the children. When what they taught them in school, they will have another teacher that will teach them in their home, so that it will improve the level of the education of their children.
Shortcut exam for the children is not good. I don't do it for my children. I don't do it at all, because I have about 3 undergraduates now. They pass the exam by themselves.
Stakeholders say government and relevant agencies must re-strategize in order to guard against examination malpractices by those examined at the senior secondary school level, to ensure that those seen to have passed such tests are truly qualified to move to the next level of their education. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. There'll be no news after the break. Do stay with us.
That's great.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
And thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila over the National Assembly's budget. SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, saying the suit became necessary following their failure to cut the unlawful National Assembly budget of 228.1 billion naira, including the 30.17 billion naira severance payments and inauguration costs for members. In the suit, defendants are President Muhammadu Buhari, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, and the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed. He stated that the suit followed the move by the National Assembly to increase its 2023 budget from 169 billion naira proposed by President Muhammadu Buhari to 228.1 billion naira, while the approved budget shows an increase of about 59.1 billion naira. The country's budget of 21.83 trillion naira is based on a 10.49 trillion naira revenue and an 11.34 trillion naira deficit. The Rights Group wants an order restraining these and stopping the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, from releasing the National Assembly the budget of 228.1 billion naira until an impact assessment of the spending on access to public goods and services and the country's debt crisis is carried out. And now for a look at the foreign scene, where Pope Francis has ended a trip to South Sudan with an impassioned plea for peace and forgiveness in the war-torn country. Francis made the appeal on Sunday as he presided over an open-air mass attended by 100,000 people on the grounds of a mausoleum for South Sudan's liberation hero, John Garang, in the capital, Juba. He urged worshippers, including the country's president and his opponents, to reject the blind fury of violence. Francis also called for an end to tribalism, financial wrongdoings, and the alleged corruptions at the root of many of the country's problems, while advising attendees to build good human relationships as a way of curbing the corruption of evil, the disease of division, the filth of fraudulent business dealings, and the plague of injustice. And following a brief illness, Pakistan former President Pervez Musharraf has died at the age of 79 in the United Arab Emirates. A four-star general, Musharraf ruled Pakistan for nearly a decade after seizing power in a bloodless coup in 1999. The former general was suffering from amyloidosis, a rare disease that causes organ damage. He had long been bedridden and wheelchair-bound. In a brief statement released by the military's media wing, senior military personnel expressed their heartfelt condolences on the demise of the former military ruler. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif offered his condolences to Musharraf's family on social media. Musharraf's political party, launched in 2010, failed to win any significant seats in two subsequent general elections he chose to live in self-imposed exile in the United Arab Emirates after he was charged with treason in 2014. Meanwhile, Chile has extended an emergency declaration to yet another region as firefighters struggled to control dozens of wildfires that have killed at least 23 people. The latest emergency order covers the southern region of Araucanía, next to the previously declared Biobío and Ñuble regions, located near the middle of the South American country's long Pacific coastline. At least 23 people have died in connection to the fires, while 979 have been reported injured. More than 1,100 have sought refuge in shelters. New Guinea's eastern region was struck by a magnitude 5.9 earthquake, according to the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, and it says the quake hit the Pacific island nation at the depth of 104 kilometers below the Earth's surface, revising an earlier report that put the depth at 109 kilometers. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage caused by the earthquake. And in sports, Harry Kane has become Tottenham's all-time record scorer, surpassing the great Jimmy Greaves, as his 269th goal for the club dented Manchester City's title ambitions at a ruckus Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The England captain reached the landmark with a composed finish from 10 yards after Pierre-Emile Højbjerg did exceptionally well to find Kane inside the box. Fans jumped from their seats to applaud the 29-year-old striker, whose first Spurs goal came on 15th December 2011, while a message flashed up on the scoreboard inside the ground, which read, "Congratulations, Harry Kane." The 15-minute finish was also Kane's 200th in the Premier League stage. Only Alan Shearer, with 260 goals, and Wayne Rooney, 208, have scored more. It came against the run of play, and with Spurs boss Antonio Conte recovering at home after surgery to remove his gallbladder. And still talking the Premier League, Steve Cooper has said that his Nottingham Forest side are building an identity after Brennan Johnson's goal gave them victory over Leeds United. Forest were second best throughout the first half, but Johnson's thumping 14th-minute strike was enough to move them 6 points clear of the relegation places. Brennan Johnson's goal clinched an important victory for Nottingham Forest as they beat Leeds United 1-0 at the City Ground. And to mixed martial arts now, where Fedor Emelianenko's distinguished 23-year-old career ended in defeat as Ryan Bader secured a first-round stoppage to retain his heavyweight title at Bellator 290 in Inglewood, California. American Bader dropped Russia's Emelianenko with a right hand before finishing the contest with ground and pound. Emelianenko is regarded by many as the greatest heavyweight of all time. A former champion, he retires with 40 wins from 48 fights. Following the defeat, he was joined in the cage by a host of former opponents and fellow MMA greats, including Randy Couture, Mark Coleman, Dan Henderson, before laying down his gloves on the canvas. Cameron Norrie sealed Great Britain's place in the Davis Cup Finals group stage as his victory over Colombia's Nicolas Mejia gave the visitors an unassailable 3-1 lead in Bogota. The British #1 made it back-to-back straight sets wins at altitude on clay as he beat Mejia 6-4, 6-4. It means that Dan Evans was not required to play a final winner-takes-all rubber against Nicolas Barrientos. Now, before we go, here is a kicker. From cultivating their sporting muscle to reaping the full benefits of extended branding for tourism and business, more African countries are partnering with European football clubs. Malawi is the latest to sign a partnership deal. Let's take a look.
This is a great opportunity for Club Deportivo Leganés to reach out into Africa to develop talent and to develop relationships and to continue to internationalize the brand of Leganés.
With our partnership with the Leganés Club, it's going to help us because it's in the plan that at least they should develop a sports complex where we can bring in young talents, where they can be trained, equipped, and then they should be able to be exposed even into international soccer. So that would help us to a great deal.
It's an honor for Malawi to be working with Club Deportivo Leganés. The history of Leganés is a fantastic history. Look at 95 years of the club existing. And I think if you look at football itself, the Spanish league is heavily regarded across the globe. And this is a great opportunity for Malawi.
We're looking forward to spending time in Malawi, looking for and developing young athletes that can someday play on the first team here in Leganés.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and of course follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.